The Miami Dolphins lost much more than just a football game on Thursday night in Miami Gardens. We're talking about it here today on Locked On Dolphins.
You are Locked On Dolphins, your daily Miami Dolphins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Miami, welcome to another episode of Locked On Dolphins. It's your team every day here on the Locked On Network. I'm your host, Kyle Krabs, a lifelong Miami Dolphins fan, host of Locked On Dolphins, co-host of Locked On NFL Scouting, author of Touchdown Miami, and the NFL Draft lead for the 33rd team. You can find all of our shows here on the Locked On Network on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Tip of the cap to our everydayers, especially those who are tuning in tonight. After the game that was just played. It is your team every day. We don't just say it. We live it here on the Locked On Network. Today's episode of Locked On Dolphins is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Terms and conditions do apply. The Dolphins lost 31-10 to Buffalo in a game that I felt was super frustrating in the first half. This game was lost in the first half. And then you lost much more than just the game in the second half. This was a matchup between two teams who were one team trying to change the narrative and the other team trying to continue their sustained success against an opponent. And the way the game played in the first half played like that. We'll talk about the game because I got a lot of stuff that drove me nuts with how this game was called, the decision-making and the management of this football game, some of which paralleled a lot of the same stuff that you dealt with against Jacksonville twice, going for it on fourth down at midfield. We're going to talk about it. But first, we have to talk about the third quarter injury that turned this game from not just bad to worse, but bad to nightmarish, which is Tua Tagovailoa scrambling on a 4th and 4 in the red zone and lowering the shoulder on safety Damar Hamlin and ending up suffering a concussion on the play. Dolphins quickly ruled him out. He was thankfully able to walk off the field under his own power, but the concussion history with Tua Tagovailoa is well documented. And there's a lot of questions, short-term, long-term, this season, beyond, career-wise for Tua, that is going to get thrust back into all of the conversation that takes place with Tua. And unfortunately, I reflect on the play, and you feel even worse about it because it was an avoidable incident. You are the franchise quarterback. Team just gave you a big vote of confidence, right? And you're down 3 touchdowns and didn't play well before that either. I give him a lot of grace for the first interception that hit Grant Dubose right in the body. And I'm probably willing to throw some blame in the way of Robbie Chosen slipping at the top of the route on the second interception, but generally speaking, did not play well to Tagovailoa before the injury. It's week 2. It's a long season. And to drop the shoulder on a defender with the history that you have as the quarterback is just a bummer because it's an avoidable situation. Didn't have to play out like that. And unfortunately it did. And it's the sobering reminder of the history that Tua was trying to put behind him and the Dolphins were trying to put behind them as they worked towards a more stable future together. And now I don't know, and there's a lot of questions. Obviously, the most important thing is Tua Tagovailoa's health. Football is secondary. But this was someone who alluded to the idea of retirement at one point in 2022. And now another concussion that, frankly, seemed like a fairly innocent hit, but that's the part of it that really jolts you, I think. Is he drops the shoulder and takes a blow to the head in the process. and is quickly ruled out. From a football perspective, this could not be worse for Miami. Teron Armstead suffers a shoulder injury. Jeff Wilson suffers an oblique injury. Tua Tagovailoa suffers a concussion. Obviously, you have a short week or a short week to play this game. This is the second time Tua's had a concussion on a short week against an AFC contender. I don't think it would be responsible to expect to see him in a short-term window. What that window looks like, who knows? I know the team was exceptionally deliberate with the amount of time they took with him in 2022 when he suffered the concussion against Green Bay. This is the ultimate wrench in the grand plan. And now is not the time to say, I told you so, or could have seen this coming, or look back at the decision to pay the obviously hindsight's always 2020, but Tua had earned the right to have a contract. And I think that's the frustrating thing, was the way that this injury happened didn't have to happen. It was avoidable. And I get you're trying to make a play. Never mind you're 2 yards past the first down marker when you take the hit. Get it? You're trying to energize your guys, but football is a physical game. And as the franchise quarterback who has the kind of injury history that you have, this is a very difficult reminder of the restrictions that are on you as a player. We'll talk a little bit more about the game script, how it played out, things that drove me crazy about the game script. That's up next here on this episode of Locked On Dolphins. Make sure you stick with us. Today's episode of Locked On Dolphins is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. If you're hiring for your small business, you want to find quality professionals that are right for the role, and that's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. LinkedIn is not just a job board. LinkedIn helps you hire professionals you can't find anywhere else, even those who aren't actively searching for a new job but might be open to the perfect role. In a given month, over 70% of LinkedIn users don't visit other leading job sites. So if you're not looking on LinkedIn, you're looking in the wrong place. On LinkedIn, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. So hire professionals like a professional on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, but right now we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a free 3-week trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's double your winnings for all of Sunday, September 15th. Pre-game moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting today or Thursday if you're catching this on Friday. View your account page now to learn more about your boost. Visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook. Easily avoidable feels like it was the theme of the entire game. And a lot of it not acceptable for playing a game against an opponent that wants to turn this into a 12-round fight. Team that is willing to go the distance and slug it out and play defense, and a renewed commitment to running the ball with Joe Brady, and they are going to methodically play their game. And they know if we have to put our foot on the gas pedal, we can. And the Dolphins in the first half tried to turn this into a freaking third-round knockout. And every time you do this, when you play the Buffalo Bills, you lose by multiple touchdowns. I don't understand what's so hard about this. Why on earth are you going for it on 4th down? Buffalo, to that point in the game, if you don't remember what exchange I'm talking about, the Dolphins turned it over on downs, down 10 points, 17-7. They went 5 plays, 19 yards, made it to the Buffalo 45 and went for it on 4th and 2. They had 3rd and 1, got stuffed after several 3rd and short conversions. ran a same variation of the same play on the 3rd and 1 and got stuffed, and then went for it on 4th and 2, and 2 is sacked for -6 yards. Ed Oliver runs through Robert Jones. You turn the ball over on downs, you have a one-play touchdown for 49 yards afterwards, but you're down 17-7. How did Buffalo get their points? Well, you threw an interception on your opening possession, and they started at the 37-yard line and scored a touchdown in 6 plays. Then you threw an interception, and the Bills went 7 plays and 19 yards and kicked a field goal. And then they finally drove 85 yards the length of the field to make it from 10-7 to 17-7. And you went for it on 4th down in the first half, down 10 points with a chance to pin them back inside the 10-yard line and force them to drive the full length of the field for a second time. They did it twice against Jacksonville, and they didn't get it either time. You have to stop giving teams short fields. And when you throw 2 interceptions in the first quarter, regardless of who's at fault for the plays, have an awareness of, hey, we're still in this game. It's not the time to panic. We can't get off script. We got plenty of time. It's still the first half. It's a 2-score game. They haven't had a lot of success. Their drives went 37 yards. They went 3 for 9. They went 7 for 19. And then they went 8 for 85. That was boosted by a 15-yard penalty by Jordan Poyer when you had them backed up. And then they had an explosive play on a 3rd and long where Jalen Phillips falls down, and Josh Allen gets outside the pocket and throws the ball to Ty Johnson down to the 2-yard line. They had a chunk play and a 15-yard penalty. They hadn't strung anything together with any consistency at all in the first half. And yet you spotted them a bunch of points because you turned the ball over and you kept giving them short fields, and you voluntarily signed on the dotted line to give them another short field. It's not acceptable. It's not. You have to stop handing this team. There's no reason to hit that panic button. You reflect on games like Baltimore and Buffalo last year, the games that really got away from you, even Philly to a lesser degree. And you're leaving points on the field. You're not playing the field position game. How many drives did the Dolphins have in the first 3 quarters that started inside their own 15-yard line? How many drives? What was the average starting position for the Bills? Some of that's on turnovers. You can't really control that, especially when the ball doinks off a guy's shoulder pad because he's not looking for the ball on 3rd and long with a perfect throw. You can't control that. But instead of, we got to get it all back, let's chase the game. Okay, it's 4th and 2. It's like the worst thing that ever happened is Mike McDaniel hitting a 4th and 7 for a touchdown against the Patriots in the first game he ever coached as the head coach of the football team. Because now every time we get a 4th and mid around midfield, we want to go for it. And we don't care about the script or the flow of the game. And it hasn't worked. And they were bad on 4th down last year. What exactly was their numbers on 4th down last year? Now I want to know. The Dolphins in 2023 on 4th downs in its totality. 11 of 25, 28th in the NFL. They went for it on 4th down twice against Jacksonville and didn't get either one. And then they went for 4th down at midfield against Buffalo and didn't get it and had a one-play touchdown on the following play. Because Buffalo's out there in jumbo fronts with an extra offensive tackle on the field, and you got Deshaun Hand manning 3 gaps by himself. Some of that's growing pains on defense. I get it. I'm totally fine with growing pains on defense and not fitting the run correctly, and guys got to learn how to play together, and David Long's got to learn how to fit that block, and we got to get somebody else down in the hat because of an offensive tackle. Like, I get that. That's growing pains early in the season with the new scheme. I'm not going to kill you for that, but I'm going to kill you for voluntarily giving them their 3rd possession that starts on the plus side of the 50. When the first 2 were outside of your control to some degree because of a miscommunication or a guy's not looking for a ball. I know a lot of people killed the Dolphins for the end of half sequence as well, where Miami takes over and goes 13 plays, 54 yards, 3.5 minutes. But knowing that Buffalo was getting the ball back and it was 24-7, I understand not being too overtly aggressive to give the ball back to Buffalo with a chance to double dip again going into and out of the half in the middle 8. So did they cost themselves a play in that process by not calling a timeout from the 3rd down or from the 2nd and 6 that you lost 5 yards and set up third down under a minute left in the quarter. Yeah, I get you cost yourself a couple plays there by electing some of that clock to milk down, but you're also facing 3rd and 11 and needed a Tua scramble for 11 yards to get the first down. If you'd have called the timeout at 57 seconds and didn't get the first down and you're at the 46-yard line, now they have 2 timeouts to give a chance to come down the field, potentially get more points. So I get why they handled the end of half sequence the way that they did. But that 4th down decision, and you're running the ball with a lot of success. I mean, the Dolphins finished the first half with over 100 rushing yards as a team. And we come out, we're firing, and then we have a holding call that's kind of a ticky-tack holding call in Toronto Armstead, but a holding call that killed a drive and puts you behind the sticks. And there just wasn't any patience. It wasn't any patience. And they had Terrell Bernard that went down, so you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, can you really get after him in the box and stay patient? And you didn't stay patient. You didn't call a patient game in the first half, and then it was so far gone that it didn't matter anymore. You'd hope the lesson would be learned, especially after the week before you went for it twice on 4th down and gave short fields both times. It's like Groundhog Day, and it's at its worst when you play this team, which I don't think it's a coincidence, is a contributing factor in a number of ways in a number of games that you've played for why the games play out the way they do. Where the heck do we go from here? That's what we're going to finish with here on this post-game episode of Locked On Dolphins. Make sure that you stick with us. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, unlike in other apps. On PrizePicks, it's you against the numbers. All you have to do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can watch your winnings roll in. One Caleb Williams passing yard in the month of September is good for 1 win on PrizePicks. So let the #1 pick do work for you with your selections. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Where we go here is a whole lot of I don't know. I would probably temper expectations that you have for the season until we get a little bit more clarity on what the status is of the Dolphins with their starting quarterback. It is secondary to his health, and I get that. But you have 15 football games left to play this season. And if it's going to be Skylar Thompson for an extended period of any of it, I don't like your chances. And the people that have called to see Skylar Thompson and think that Skylar Thompson can play this game at a higher level, careful what you wish for. Because if the Dolphins choose to go this route, this could get ugly. And I know there's a lot of talent. There's a perception of the Dolphins and its offense and how it's engineered and what that looks like from a timing perspective and with the talent that's available, how easy it is to plug players in and be productive players. Consider this the grand experiment if this injury does yield an extended absence for Tua Tagovailoa, and that's for better or for worse. Obviously, I hope we don't see Tua until he is healthy and fully recovered, however long that takes. But the short-term ramifications for this football team is the whole foundation is shaking right now. And I don't know exactly how much clarity you're going to get. So a pretty big gut punch to be rolling into week 2, not even into the weekend of week 2 of the NFL season, and to have that be the state of affairs of your roster. And I wouldn't dismiss any potential outcome. I don't think you can. Now, what it all ultimately ends up looking like is unfortunately going to take some time, and everybody's going to want to have a reaction and an opinion and a stance to take and put a flag in the ground and all that, right? If the circumstances necessitate it, we will explore all kinds of options here on the show as far as this season. the next couple weeks, the full season, beyond this season and long term. We will explore every possible avenue the Dolphins can take because this is a very sobering, all bets are off type of development for the team. Just as we got done saying, hey, you finally got a coach locked in with a contract extension, you got a quarterback locked in with a contract extension, the kind of franchise stability this team hasn't had in 25, 30 years. Very complimentary of it. And now, lo and behold, your starting quarterback has a lapse in judgment that unfortunately cost him dearly as far as his health on that play in an avoidable situation, which makes it just that much more tough to see play out. Obviously, sending best wishes to Tua, sending best wishes to all of you as Dolphins fans. I know we are a very hurt bunch as a collective group of fans. And a night like tonight is about as miserable as it gets. We will tackle whatever comes next together. And I hope you will stay plugged in here on Locked On Dolphins as we cover the rest of the fallout from week 2. Break down who played well, who did not. That's in the days ahead. I'll bring it all your way here on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Make it a great rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. I'll be back to talk to y'all again soon.